One of the things you often talk about is that you say AI transformation is built on top of data transformation and digital transformation. What do you mean by that?
So that really came about because of the need to connect to digital transformation, because the story in the enterprise for the last 5 years has actually really been about digital transformation. Now, I talked to particularly banks a lot about digital transformation. And the first thing I do when I talk to executives is actually go through an exercise to define digital transformation. So the challenge with digital transformation is it means everything and nothing. And lots of groups think it means just having a mobile app or a chat and a chat bot and that's it. But what I really looked to construct was a narrative that built off digital transformation and moved groups towards AI transformation. Because one of the keys there is that digital transformation is just the first stage in a three-step process. It's not the end goal, it's in and of itself. And when we look at AI, so I look at it very much as this pyramid with AI on the top, data transformation as the sandwich in the middle, and digital transformation as the basis. And really the focus there for digital transformation that makes this a very coherent strategy is to say that its focus is to bring and produce digital data coming into the business, going through the processes of the business and going out of the business. So the business is built on digital data. So obviously, if we want to get to this AI nirvana, it needs to be running on data, and that data needs to be digital. So that becomes the first foundation place before we even start thinking about anything to do with AI. But then we get to the stage that in fact, all businesses find that they're in right now, particularly when they've gone through that digital transformation, is that their data landscape is chaos. It's the Wild West. And it's a mess. So we would like to have thought, producing this digital data, we go straight to AI and start using it. The reality is that you've got to wrangle that data and actually get it in some shape and form that's ready for AI, or what I call fit for purpose. And so that requires a whole bunch of things like governance, making sure your data is clean, making sure you've got one view of data. And really then that becomes the second stage. And I think that's where many, particularly front-running enterprises are right now, is that they're in that stage of trying to get the data in order. And once you've done that, then you can really start looking at the AI picture. And the key here is not that you can't do AI without doing that, but you can't really do AI at scale. And you can't really do it industrially unless you've got those foundations in place in a way that in shape and form that's solid. And so that's where I talk to our executives and say, it's not about just doing use cases. You can do those today if you want to and start getting some learning going. But this is the shape and form you need to put in place to do this on at speed, industrially and at scale. And so that's really the narrative I take forward to executives. And it's nice for them to understand that, because a lot of the feeling I get when I talk to executives is when we talk about digital and data and AI, they're all just completely separate things. And they're struggling to get their heads around them and say, oh, God, we're just doing digital transformation now. Now we've got to think about data and AI. But if you can put it in a form that says, no, actually, they build on each other, they leverage each other, and they complement each other, then it looks like a very nice, coherent, complementary strategy. And I think it feels like a lot of risk reduction.